In this video, we are going to build this beautiful AI text summarizer in the most quickest and easiest way. We will be using React, Tailwind, and for the AI integration, Puter.js. Best thing about this project is that it takes less than 100 lines of code to put together, and thanks to Puter.js, we don't even need an API key to access the AI features. That means you can test and use the AI freely in your development environment without dealing with annoying setups. We are starting completely from scratch, and I will explain every single line of code from beginning to end. By the end of this video, you're gonna be able to create your own web apps with AI integration in a really fast way. So let's get into it. Let's start by creating a React project with Tailwind inside from scratch. Here I have an empty folder opened inside VS Code. To create a React project using Vite, you can go ahead to Tailwind's official documentation and follow these steps. Let's open a terminal and copy and paste this first line. This is going to create a React app using the latest version of Vite in a folder named My Project. Hit enter, select React and JavaScript. Here we have the My Project folder. Let's go inside this project in our terminal and run npm install to install the dependencies. And now we have a working React project. Now let's copy and paste the second line to install Tailwind CSS. After this is done, let's head into vite.config and add the Tailwind plugin right next to React. And let's not forget to import it at the top. Let's clean up the source folder a little bit. Delete these assets folder, app.css, clean up the index.css entirely, and import Tailwind. And that should be it. Let's clean up the app and test if the Tailwind is working. Let's make this text bigger with a font bold and run the project on the browser using npm run dev. And there you go. Everything seems to be working fine. Now we can start the code. Before we start to implement the AI logic, let's create the UI just a little bit. We are going to use this div as a container. Let's set it to minimum age screen to make it cover the entire page, and create a background gradient to bottom right from rows 950 via slate 950 to purple. Let's make it a flex container with the flex direction of column and center the items. Let's give it a little padding with a gap of 6 and create a h1 that says AI text summarizer. We're going to create a gradient text. Let's make it bigger, and for the screens that are larger than small, I'm going to make it a lot more bigger. Text is going to be transparent. Let's create a background gradient to right, blue 500. In the middle there's going to be rows, and to indigo 500. Now we're going to clip this text to the background and make it transparent so we can see the background. There's a little typo here. This should be justify center, and let's center it. There you go. And for now, this is it with the design. Next, we're going to start to implement the logic for the AI text summarizer. We can start by importing the hooks that we are going to use. To be able to create state variables, we are going to use useState, and we're going to run a effect as soon as the component is mounted. So let's use useEffect as well. Inside the app, let's create the state variables that we are going to use. The first state variable is going to be text that basically the user is going to provide us to summarize it. Let's create a setter function as well, set text equals useState. The initial state is going to be an empty string. The second state variable is going to be the summary. We are going to use this to store the summarized text right after we run the AI logic. Set summary equals useState. This one is also going to be an empty string. Next, let's create a loading state. We are going to use this to show a loading spinner when the AI is summarizing the text given. Set loading equals useState. This one is going to have an initial state of false. You're going to have a state variable to handle errors. If there's an error, we are going to store it inside this state, set error equals use state. This is going to be an empty string. And the final one is going to be AI ready, set AI ready equals use state. And this is going to have a initial state of false. This is the most important one. We are going to be using this in a use effect, and inside that effect, as soon as the web page is loaded, we're going to check if the AI is ready or not. And depending on that, we are not going to allow the user to paste any text inside the input, and we are basically going to wait until the AI is ready. Next, let's create that use effect. This hook basically runs an effect on the web page, and you can decide which effects you are going to run and when. It takes two parameters, the function that you are going to run and when you are going to run it. If you want this effect to run as soon as this component is loaded, you can just pass a set of empty brackets. That means run this effect as soon as the component is loaded. And in our case, that's what we want, because we want to check if the AI is loaded as soon as the user visits the page. Now inside the effect, let's check if the AI is loaded. We're going to create a variable named checkReady. And the way that we're going to check if the AI is loaded or not is by using a set interval. And inside this interval, we're going to run a logic every 300 milliseconds. And for every 300 milliseconds, you're going to check if the puter is loaded or not, but we haven't added the puter yet. So let's take a look at that. So all we need to do to make puter work is to add this one single script in our index.html file. No setup, no config, no API key. It basically connects everything through the browser using this one single script tag. And this is going to give us access to powerful AI features that you can check yourself here. You're going to be able to access the puter.ai chat, which is the one that we are going to use inside this video. You can access text to image. You can see how simple the syntax is. Image to text, text to speech, and much more. What's really cool is that developers can make unlimited free requests while building and testing. If you have used something like Vercel's AI SDK before, those kind of SDKs have really annoying setups, but when you use Puter, you can make unlimited free requests without providing an API key while you're building and testing the app. Then if you decide to deploy your project, Puter handles the billing on the user side. That means you don't have to manage tokens or usage limits, so we can just focus on building the app. Let's copy this script tag. Inside our project, we have this index.html. We're going to copy and paste this inside the head. Let's also change the title to AI text summarizer. To finish the AI integration, all you need to do is to log in to Puter. As you can see, Puter is like a OS that runs on the web browser, but we are not going to get into this right now. We are just going to be using puter.js, so we don't have to do anything with this. But to be able to use puter.js, you need to be logged in. So make sure you go to this page, puter.com, create an account and log in. I already have an account, so I'm logged in. After you log in, you can close this page. And now back inside our project, we're going to be able to access window.puter object, which will provide us all the AI tools that we are going to need, such as puter.ai and all the other things that I showed you before. Inside this project, we're going to use window.puter.ai. Let's continue from where we left. Inside this use effect, before we load the page, using this use effect, you're going to check if the puter is properly loaded. So let's do that using a if statement. If window.puter and window.puter.ai is loaded. And there is also one more check we need to do, which is to check the type of window.puter.ai chat, that if it's a function, only then we can set the AI to true and clear this interval. Now what we did here is we checked if the puter object and its AI property is properly loaded, And then we checked if we have the chat function. If these are all true, then we can say that the AI is ready. So we turn this state from false to true, and using clear interval, we stop this from running. Let's make sure that we clean up the use effects by using clear interval again. This is just to make sure that the use effect is not running anymore once we set the AI to true. Next, we're gonna create a async function named summarize text. So this is the function that we are going to sending a request to AI. The first things that we are going to do is to set some of these states. Once summarize text is running, that means the user is provided a text and the AI is basically summarizing the text. So that means we need to set loading to true and also make sure we don't have any errors left from the previous run. Then we're gonna have a try and catch block that where we catch the errors. Inside the try block, we're gonna get the response from the AI. Let's make sure we use the await keyword. So this is the first time we are going to be using Puter. We're gonna access the Puter object and the AI property, then the chat function, and we're gonna pass a prompt that says, please summarize this. And using the $sign and curly braces, we're gonna pass the text that the user is provided. And after the AI summarizes the text, then we're gonna set the summary to the response that comes back from the AI. Or for some reason, if there is no answer, then we're just gonna say no summary returned. If there is a error, we're gonna set error to the error message that comes back. Or for some reason, if there is no error message, then we are just gonna say something went wrong. And finally, when this is done, we're gonna set loading back to false, which we set true at the beginning. Before we go further along, let's take a final look at this async function. This is the function that we are going to use to summarize the text. Once this starts to run, that means the AI is summarizing the text, and it usually takes a couple of seconds. So we go into the loading phase. We're gonna show a loading spinner while this is true. As the loading spinner is spinning, we set the summary and the error state variables to empty strings in case if there are any information left from the previous run. Then we have a try and catch block. We send this prompt to the AI through Puter.ai. By the way, when you use Puter AI like this, the default AI it uses is GPT 4.1 Nano. If you go to this AI chat section of the website, you can see how to use it in detail. You can see the available models. So this is basically it for the logic part. I mentioned at the beginning of the video that this is going to be really simple. All we need to do is to connect this to the UI. Right under this H1, let's create a div. We're gonna have a dynamic styling, so open a set of curly braces with backticks. Give it a padding on the left and right, top and bottom, fully rounded corners, make the text small, and using the $sign and curly braces. If the AI is ready, then we're gonna show this little box with a green background and a green text with a border and a green border. If the AI is not ready, we're gonna show this yellow box with the yellow text, a border, and a yellow border. And inside this div, again using curly braces, if the AI is ready, then we're gonna say AI ready. If it's not, we're gonna say waiting for AI. And with this done, we can actually check if the Puter is getting loaded correctly by just refreshing the page. You can see that for a split second, it's getting loaded, and now the AI is ready. So right under this div, I'm gonna create the card with a width 100%, maximum width 2x large, and a background gradient to right from gray 800 with a 90% of opacity to gray 700 with a 90% opacity. And we're gonna create this backdrop blur, which will be medium, a little border, and let's make the border gray 600, rounded corners, padding of 6, add a little shadow. Now inside this div, we're gonna have a text area. The users are going to use this text area to copy and paste long texts. Let's give it a width 100% with a height of 40, padding 4, 700 gray background with 80% opacity, border, and let's make the border gray, give it some rounded corners, make the text white, and we're gonna have a placeholder which will be gray 400. On focus, gonna delete the outline and we're gonna create a ring. Let's make the ring indigo 400 and use a transition to create a smooth hover effect with duration 300. If it's disabled, then we're gonna lower down the opacity to 50. Gonna delete the resize and add a little shadow. Also, when you click on this text area, gonna create this purple shadow with 70% opacity. Let's see. And there you go. Looks really cool. Let's create a placeholder that says paste your text here. And from this text area, you're gonna get the text value. Let's also use the onChange event handler. And when there is something written inside this text area, we are going to pass that text to the text state variable. And this is basically how we store the text inside this text area, inside this variable. Also, we are going to disable this text area when the AI is not ready. Let's check that by refreshing the page if the text area is disabled. And as you can see, while the AI is loading, for a split second, the text area is disabled. So it works as intended. Right under this text area, you're gonna have a button. When you click on this button, we're gonna call the summarize text function. Let's give it a margin top 4, padding on the left and right 6, and padding on the top and bottom 3. Let's make this a gradient background to right from rose 500 to purple 500. On hover, gonna lower down the opacity to 80. Let's make the text white, font semi-bold, and give it rounded corners with a transition. Just like the same with text area, when this is disabled, you're gonna lower down the opacity to 50, and also we are going to basically prevent the users from clicking on it using cursor not allowed. And finally, let's create the logic for it to be disabled if the AI is not ready, or if we are in the loading state, the text area is empty. Inside the button, open a set of curly braces. If we are in the loading state, I'm gonna display this div that says summarizing, and let's create a loading spinner using animate spin with 4, height 4, with a 2 pixel border. Let's make the border white 30% and make the top border white, and let's make it a circle rounded full. If we are not in the loading state, then we are just going to say summarize. So right now the text area is empty, and as you can see, we are not allowed to click on it. But if you write something down, and now we can click on it. Let's also add cursor pointer to this button. There you go. And finally, you're gonna have a div to display the summarized text. Let's give it a padding on the top 6 and space Y4 to create space between the elements inside. Let's make the text white. Inside, if there is a summary, then we're gonna display it inside this div. Give it a padding of 4 with a background gray 700, 60%. Give it a border and border gray, rounded corners. To make the words wrap, I'm gonna use white space pre-wrap. And if there are any errors, we're gonna display the error, padding of 4. Let's make the background red. Let's give it a red background, text red 700 with a border. Let's make the border red with a rounded corner. Also, let's style the div for this text and its spinner. Make it a flex container and center the items horizontally with a gap of 2. And that is it. Let's see. I'm gonna copy and paste a text. Let's see if it summarizes correctly. And there you go. It seems to be working fine. Let's delete this and paste a longer one and see if it's working fine when you copy and paste text one after another, and it summarized it beautifully. Everything seems to be working fine. And this is how we can create a AI text summarizer using React, Tailwind, and Puter.js. If you guys find the video helpful and enjoyed it, please not forget to subscribe. I'll be making much more videos like this in the future. Thank you for your time and see you in the next video.